Hey, so this video is about how entrepreneurs can manage their own psychology by measuring the effort. And what I basically do myself personally is use simple tools like spreadsheets in order to be able to document most aspects of my life. And the reason why I started doing this was one, just kind of inspired by some of the individuals I, got to learn more about, and it was just simple observation that somebody was doing it, and it looked like that was like one of the insights that was leading them towards success. However, they managed to define success in their own terms, and I just decided to emulate that. It was just like a simple mimetic concept, if you want to call it that. So after having started and launching companies for a number of years now, I sincerely believe that you've got to have a hold of your psychology. You have to have an understanding of yourself, what makes you you, your cognitive makeup, your strengths, your weaknesses, what makes you go. And if you don't do all those things, then something doesn't click. Something doesn't click that kind of gives you the ability to be able to manage your energy and your time in order for you as an entrepreneur to pursue your dreams and your passions. So in a true Ben Horowitz sense, which you can probably see on the screen, these are the three biggest challenges for any entrepreneur. One is that you have to be either both an entrepreneur and an inventor, and if you can, you find somebody who can help you with that. The second one is for you to find the product market fit, and the third one, as you see on the screen, is for you to manage your own psychology. So I don't think they are exactly in the order that they should be in. There's no one, two, or three. They're all equally important, and you need to be you have to get the flow going when it comes to all three of these things in order for you to be successful in whatever you decide to do. How I can relate to it personally is that I've been kind of focusing on that bullet number three for the past couple of years. If you want to kind of summarize the essence of my efforts, if you want to call it that, and I'm pretty proud of the changes that I've been able to bring in my constitution in terms of habits, giving up on certain addictions, and just kind of having a better sense of myself, being more self-aware of how I choose to interact with somebody else or in the wider construct, in a cause and effect kind of relationship. So, I've I've just used simple tools. I haven't gone for extensive kind of workshops or spend like a gazillion amount of time or money perusing through books. I did go through some books, and I'm gonna touch base on some of those. And I've got a Facebook post that kind of gets into the details, and I can certainly make another video kind of going through the details of the intricacies of the kind of tools, simple tools I use. But let's start with how I kind of brought the changes, a little bit of historical perspective. So it all started in, I think it was 20, just gonna bring the video back. So I think it was 2013 or 2014. I came across a gentleman, his profile on a website called About Me. His name is Sammy Enkinen. And he kind of reminded me of an older version of myself, or sorry, a younger version of myself. When I was like athletic, at the top of my game, there's only two things I've done consistently in my life, and that's kind of being, involved in some kind of physical activity. And I usually just go to the gym, not in any competitive sports. And the other one is that I love technology. And so I kind of stumbled across this particular website, this blog post that Sammy made about tracking everything in spreadsheets. And, I was just kind of always interested in psychology. So I remember this one quote by Peter Drucker. And I kind of put a positive spin on what Peter said. And I kind of spun around to say, if you can measure it, then you can improve it. And I combined the two, and it was coincidental, but I was actually in 2014 I went through a book called Mindset by Carol Dweck, and I would definitely recommend this for anyone who hasn't read this. And if you are focused on attaining your goals and success, however you define it, then this is a book that you should definitely go through. It's probably in my top 5 lists of all the books across the domains that I've read. And it's really powerful because it's kind of backed by decades worth of research that Carol Dweck has done in the fields of education and learning and so on and so forth. Uh, one of the core themes in the book is effort. So you have to put the effort in order for you to be able to build the kind of neural pathways that kind of reinforce those learning patterns. That's really like one of the core themes in the book, that the effort really matters. So whatever you do, you have to put in the effort. You have to, have the grit. You got to go through the grind in order for you to be able to pursue whatever you set your eyes on. Because you can't just try an attempt here and an attempt there, and then just say, well, that was luck or genetics, and just kind of leave it up to that. So there's some really positive examples of, kids coming from, like underprivileged families and going on to attain success, good grades, going on to get a, um, kind of scholarship, and kind of going from there throughout the book. But really, like the core, I think the gist of it is putting in the effort. So what I did personally was just that. I combined all three of these things. So I kind of got inspiration from Sammy's website for tracking everything in spreadsheets. So I started measuring everything, and then I measured the effort. And I'm just going to share a kind of a brief glimpse into what my spreadsheet kind of looks like. So, I have a moods and emotion and general health section where I kind of track everything related to those domains, how I'm feeling, what my motivation levels like when I wake up in the morning. And I kind of track it and graph it on a kind of, I try to do that every other day or like 2 or 3 times a week. Just kind of this in conjunction with the timeline, just kind of like the next section, which is really where I spend the bulk of my time tracking stuff. I probably spend 15 to 20 minutes every day tracking everything that's going on in my life. And just kind of like the patterns kind of start emerging the more you track your activities. And because you can kind of correlate cause and effect relationship. You're like, well, today I'm not feeling so great and motivation is still not so high. And then you kind of realize, well, you haven't been to the gym in 4 days, right? And it's becoming a pattern, and it's perhaps having a, I don't know, you can get down to the level of neuroscience and say, well, you're not getting the right kind of chemicals flowing to your brain, and now it's having an impact on your cognitive well-being and your levels of motivation because you're not putting the effort. Similarly, you can do this for anything that you choose to focus on. So I guess some of the positive examples, all of them have been positive. Like I've dropped 25 pounds using simple tools like this, and in conjunction with automating as much of my life as possible from this point of view. So I use Fitbit for tracking my health and fitness and diet. So I've dropped 25 pounds. I've increased muscle mass. I have more stamina. I have given up on addictions without going into all the gory details. I've overcome, I guess you can call, anger issues. I have I've become a vegetarian. It's my second day at being a true vegetarian, and I used to love meat, and I just kind of decided to give it up because of ethical and moral considerations. Given up on coffee, gone down from a pot a day is too much to like a cup a day. Um, and I'm using this to now center my point of focus and become more disciplined in what I choose to do with my time. Kind of, you have to contain certain tendencies that you have in your personality. So I've been pretty bad or good, depending on how you want to look at it, with altruism. So now I have a point of focus, which is this section right here, where I know consciously that there are things I can focus on, things I cannot focus on, and things I may be able to influence with a limited amount of time. So you gotta really watch your do, because time is a commodity. Time is a precious commodity, and you gotta really measure the amount of things or the effort you're putting in a bit based on how much time you're spending on those activities. So if you say this is your goal, but you're spending, I don't know, 20 hours doing things in another area, then maybe you need to either reprioritize your goals or you need to switch your focus. You got to do either or. I don't think there's another way. I don't think so. I want to be challenged. I have a list of my goals in a documented format and kind of go through them as often as I can, just kind of reinforce that. Ideally, I would want to do something here that looks like Sam Altman, who's the CEO, I think, of was one of the founders of Y Combinator. I think he's leading Y Combinator around. But Sam kind of keeps this list in his pocket, which is basically a list of the things he has to do on a daily, 3 months, and like yearly basis. daily, weekly, 3 months, and a yearly basis. I think that's what the list is comprised of. So I want to turn my list of goals into something like that and kind of tie it with some of the other things that you see here. So I'm working on a new version of the spreadsheet too, where kind of basically what I'm trying to do is take everything that I do on a daily basis, and my point of focus is aligned with the goals I've set. So every activity that I'm doing is aligned with the goals I've set, because that's the only way you're going to get traction on your goals in a disciplined fashion. Just like focus on those things. So I figured I'd do a video to be able to document this. It's measuring things has really made a profound difference in my life. Going back to those 3 or 4 examples that I started with, I sincerely believe you can do anything in the world if you choose to focus on that thing. But you have to measure it, because if you do not measure it, then you cannot improve it. That's what Drucker said. You put a positive spin on it. If you can measure it, you can improve it. You put the effort in to be able to measure that very thing to get you the outputs that you need. And if you can do that, you can change the world. So this is my short video. I would be very happy to share more details. If anyone has any questions, you can ask directly through YouTube, and I would be more than happy to share more things. Thanks.